2 seasons ago, the Knicks reached the conference semifinals. Last year, they took it a step further, advancing to the conference finals for the first time in more than 20 years. Dynasties rise, legends fall, but our journey continues. Subscribe now and be part of the story.
Take it the other way. Under 3 to play in the third. Brunson with a 3. And the foul. And the foul.
For the first time since the year 2000, the New York Knicks are staring down the possibility of an NBA Finals run. And this isn't the same old Knicks team anymore. This is a squad that's modern, dangerous, and deep, led by a coach who knows exactly how to squeeze every ounce of potential out of his players. With chemistry, firepower, and an Eastern Conference that feels more open than ever, the Knicks are in position to do something we haven't seen in a generation, and the rest of the NBA isn't ready for it. The 2024-25 season began with something the Knicks hadn't felt in decades: real championship expectations. A blockbuster offseason delivered Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, instantly transforming New York into a legitimate contender. Under Tom Thibodeau's defensive mindset, this team found its identity early: physical, disciplined, and relentless. The Knicks powered through the regular season, winning 51 games, locking in a top 3 seed, and finishing red-hot with 10 wins in their final 13 games. The playoffs began with a test, a first-round matchup against the young and hungry Detroit Pistons. After dropping Game 1 at Madison Square Garden, New York bounced back, taking 4 of the next 5 games to close out the series in 6. The message was clear: the Knicks weren't just good, they were built for the moment. Then came the conference semifinals against their longtime rivals, the defending champion Boston Celtics. Few gave them a chance, but New York delivered one of the biggest upsets of the postseason, knocking out Boston 4-2 to reach their first conference finals in more than 20 years. Madison Square Garden was electric, and for a moment, it felt like destiny was calling. But waiting for them were the surging Indiana Pacers, and that's where the magic began to fade. The Knicks fought hard but ran out of gas, losing in 6 games. Still, the season was historic, their best in decades. 2 wins shy of the finals, the Knicks had reintroduced themselves to the league as a legitimate powerhouse. But behind the success, there were cracks. The Knicks had enough talent to reach the finals, but their flaws showed when it mattered most: over-reliance on the starters and a lack of reliable depth. Thibodeau's rotations were tight, and the starters logged an exhausting 940 minutes together, the most of any lineup in the NBA. The bench, meanwhile, contributed the fewest points and minutes in the league. When the offense slowed down, they had nowhere else to turn. Adding Towns and Bridges gave the Knicks star power, but they lost the toughness and balance that players like Isaiah Hartenstein and Dante DiVincenzo brought. Without that grit, New York's identity wavered. When fatigue hit and shots stopped falling, their lack of depth was exposed. Now, heading into the offseason, the mission is clear: rebuild the bench and prepare for one more run. The Eastern Conference landscape has shifted. Several contenders are entering transition years, and injuries have created a window of opportunity. The Knicks already have what many teams dream of: a veteran core in their prime, the confidence of a deep playoff run, and a system that works. This is New York's moment to finish what they started. The Garden is alive again, the fans are believing again, and for the first time in decades, the path to the finals doesn't feel impossible. It feels within reach. And before we wrap up, if you've been riding with the Knicks, if you've been waiting to see this team rise again, show some love, hit that subscribe button, and let's witness this story together. Because history might just be returning to Madison Square Garden.
With a screen. Brunson. Step back. Got it.
The New York Knicks entered the offseason with one clear mission: not to reinvent themselves, but to refine what already worked. After a deep playoff run and a strong core in place, the goal wasn't about fireworks or blockbuster trades. It was about fine-tuning. Keep the foundation intact, strengthen the bench, and finally fix the one flaw that haunted them all season long: depth. Because the Knicks starters were already elite. The problem came when they sat down. Every time the second unit took the floor, leads slipped away, momentum vanished, and games that should have been comfortable wins turned into exhausting fourth-quarter battles. And in the NBA, that's the difference between being a contender and being a champion. So this offseason, the Knicks went to work, smart, measured, and strategic. They added instant offense off the bench by signing Jordan Clarkson to a veteran minimum deal. They brought in versatile forward Guerschon Yabusele on a 2-year contract. And even in late free agency, they created competition for the final roster spots, with Landry Shamet and Malcolm Brogdon battling for places in the rotation. Given their limited cap space and few assets, what New York managed to pull off was impressive. A complete bench retooling without touching the core. The biggest move, though, was Jordan Clarkson. While his production has dipped since his prime Utah Jazz years, from nearly 21 points per game as a starter to around 17 off the bench the past 2 seasons, Clarkson still brings exactly what the Knicks have been missing: scoring firepower when the starters rest. Since 2020, no player in the NBA has scored more points off the bench than Clarkson. He's poured in 4,589 bench points, more than 700 ahead of the next closest player. And when it comes to explosive nights, few reserves in league history can match him. Clarkson has scored 40-plus points off the bench 4 times, second most ever, and 30-plus points 17 times, tied for 5th most all-time. This is his identity. He's a walking bucket. For the Knicks, the fit is perfect. Last season, they ranked dead last in bench scoring with just 21.7 points per game. The addition of a proven shot creator like Clarkson directly addresses that issue. If he can stay healthy and bring even a fraction of the spark that once made him a 6th man of the year, Clarkson could finally stabilize the Knicks' second unit, something they've been searching for since Emmanuel Quickley's departure 2 seasons ago. At 33, Clarkson isn't without risk. Injuries have limited him to just 153 games over the past 3 seasons, and his efficiency has wavered. But that's why the Knicks made another smart insurance move, bringing in Malcolm Brogdon, a player who offers leadership, poise, and steady two-way play to balance the flash and unpredictability of Clarkson. In short, the Knicks didn't chase headlines this summer. They built depth, balance, and reliability. Exactly what a contender needs to take the final step from almost there to championship ready.
Brogdon get downhill, goes up strong, and one.
The Knicks didn't just add names this offseason, they added balance. After addressing their scoring problem with Jordan Clarkson, New York doubled down by giving themselves another layer of stability in the backcourt. That's where Malcolm Brogdon comes in. Brogdon is the polar opposite of Clarkson. Where Clarkson is flashy, Brogdon is calculated. Where Clarkson thrives in chaos, Brogdon thrives in control. Over 9 NBA seasons, he's been the definition of steady, averaging 15 points, nearly 5 assists, and 4 rebounds per game, while excelling as both a creator and a spot-up shooter. Last season in Washington was rough. Only 24 games played, the fewest of his career, and a disappointing 29% from 3, his lowest mark ever. But that small sample doesn't tell the whole story. From 2022 to 2024, Brogdon shot an elite 43% from 3, the 4th best mark in the league among players with at least 300 attempts. When healthy, he's one of the most efficient combo guards in basketball. What makes Brogdon truly valuable is his versatility. He's capable of running the second unit as a primary playmaker, sliding into the starting lineup as an off-ball guard, and thriving in clutch moments where decision-making is everything. He's calm under pressure, makes the simple read, and punishes defenses that underestimate him. His resume speaks for itself. Rookie of the Year in 2017 and 6th Man of the Year in 2023. For the Knicks, he provides something they've sorely lacked: a reliable secondary ball handler, a steady late clock playmaker, and a bench piece that raises the team's floor. While he isn't expected to take minutes away from Clarkson, Brogdon gives New York something even more valuable: insurance. If Clarkson misses time or goes cold, the offense won't collapse. But the Knicks weren't done. To round out their rotation, they added forward Guerschon Yabusele, a name that not long ago was written off as a draft bust. A 2016 lottery pick from France, Yabusele never found his footing in Boston, averaging just 2.3 points and 1.4 rebounds in 74 games before falling out of the league. His path back was anything but easy. A season in China, a few years in Europe with Lyon and Real Madrid, and then a breakout during France's silver medal run at the Olympics. He made headlines with 22 points against Canada, 17 versus Germany, and 20 against Team USA, showing NBA teams he had evolved. The Sixers took a chance on him with a 1-year, $2.1 million deal, and it paid off. Yabusel averaged 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 50% from the field and 38% from 3. When Joel Embiid went down, Yabusel stepped in as a small ball 5, stretching the floor, defending multiple positions, and giving Philly toughness they didn't expect. That breakout earned him his first real NBA payday, a 2-year, $11.7 million contract with the Knicks. At 240 pounds, Yabusel brings versatility, strength, and mobility. He can bang inside, guard bigger forwards, or pull defenders out with his shooting touch. Coming off another strong Eurobasket showing, he looks ready to contribute right away. None of these moves made headlines, but together they fixed the Knicks' biggest flaw, depth. For the first time in decades, New York doesn't just have a strong starting 5. They have one of the deepest, most complete rotations in the entire NBA. And that might be the key to finally ending the Knicks championship drought.
Here comes Clarkson. Clarkson wiggles into a 3.
And that depth could be what finally pushes the Knicks from a conference finals team to true favorites to come out of the East. But while their bench upgrades were impressive, the most consequential move of the offseason came at the very top. After falling to the rival Pacers in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals, New York's front office made a bold decision. They fired head coach Tom Thibodeau. Despite delivering the franchise's most successful run since 1999, the Knicks believed they had hit their ceiling under Thibs. What followed was a chaotic coaching search, full of rumors, rejected interviews, and failed attempts to lure away sitting head coaches. But eventually, the Knicks landed their guy, Mike Brown, a 2-time NBA Coach of the Year and one of the league's most respected basketball minds. Brown's connection to the Knicks actually goes back to 2020, when he first interviewed for the head coaching job. He left a strong impression, but Thibodeau was already the favorite. 2 years later, Brown took over the Sacramento Kings and delivered their best stretch in nearly 2 decades. In his first season as Sacramento's head coach, 2022-23, Brown orchestrated one of the most remarkable turnarounds in recent memory. The Kings won 48 games, their most since 2005, and claimed the 3rd seed in the West, snapping the longest active playoff drought in North American sports. Even more impressively, they did it with a historic offense, averaging 118.6 points per 100 possessions, the most efficient attack since play-by-play tracking began in 1996-97. They also averaged 120.7 points per game, the highest team mark since the 1983-84 Denver Nuggets. That success earned Brown his 2nd Coach of the Year award, and he became the first coach in NBA history to win the honor unanimously. The following season, Sacramento still finished with 46 wins, but a slow 13-8 start to the 2024-25 campaign cost him his job. Even so, Brown's resume speaks volumes. Beyond Sacramento, he's coached the Cleveland Cavaliers and Los Angeles Lakers, and built a winning pedigree as an assistant on championship teams in both San Antonio and Golden State. He was part of the Spurs' 2003 title team, and later served on the Warriors bench during their 2017, 2018, and 2022 championships, famously going 12-0 as acting head coach during the 2017 playoffs, while Steve Kerr was sidelined. Overall, Brown owns a 454-304 career record across 11 seasons, with 7 campaigns of at least 45 wins. Now he inherits a Knicks team with real championship expectations, and his first mission will be reshaping the team's offensive identity. Under Thibodeau, the Knicks relied heavily on Jalen Brunson's isolation scoring, ranking near the bottom of the league in ball and player movement. Brown, by contrast, has built his reputation around space, pace, and fluid ball movement, the same formula that turned Sacramento into a top-tier offense. If the Knicks buy in, Mike Brown could be the final piece that turns potential into a parade down 7th Avenue.